Well, the snow has blown over, and Colgate is back in Hamilton for the first time this season. An 0-4 start, but a chance to wipe that in the past as they start Patriot League play against the Boston University Terriers. Welcome in to Crown Field at Kerr Stadium here in Hamilton alongside Andrew Watkins. I'm Brandon Ross. Andrew, again, that 0-4 record for the Raiders through the first 4 games, but that's pretty much not reflective of how they've been playing.
Yes, very deceptive there with the 0-4 start to the season. Played some of the best teams in the country, North Carolina, Syracuse, Princeton, and Hobart last week. We both watched Hobart last night play Syracuse, and they are a true top 20 team. So Colgate's 0-4 record here is deceptive. Look for them to bounce back today against BU.
Before that, the 2 ranked teams in UNC and Syracuse, and then on top of that, Princeton led by Michael Sowers, who's tearing up college lacrosse. As we're getting ready for the national anthem here, we'll take a quick pause here for that. Starting lineups for both sides. For Boston, it'll be Dalto, along with Tommy Nook, Louis Perfetto, Jared Nugent, Timmy Lay, Will Carson, Nicholas Ellerton, and then in cage, it'll be Joe McSorley, the senior from Maryland. And for Colgate, James Cadigan, Mike Hawkins, Cooper Belanger, Griffin Brown, Nicky Petkovich, Brian Minikis, Sean Nelson, Will Sidari, John Donahue, and Sean College in cage, the sophomore from Darien, Connecticut. So far, not doing too hot in net, just averaging 20 goals allowed per game. A chance to get back on track at the start of Patriot League play, though, as we're getting ready for the opening face-off here between these two sides. It'll be Sean Christman, the junior from Pennsylvania, as well as Malcolm Feeney, the senior from New Jersey, to take the opening face-off, as these two teams are starting Patriot League play here today on this leap day between these two sides.
For Colgate, important to get off to a quick start. In their previous games, they haven't been able to do that and been trailing in all the games.
And this one goes right to Christman. He starts the attack quickly. This is a Boston University team that's still got a strong offense, but that one doesn't look too strong, goes out of bounds, ball back to the Raiders.
Nice double team there by the Raiders, take the ball away off the face-off.
That Colgate defense has lagged at times, but off to a strong start here in the Patriot League opener. And here taking it across, the junior Sean Nelson, native of Raleigh, North Carolina.
BU pressuring out and really trying to deny that long pole, but a nice job to throw it back to the offensive midi Hawkins to be able to clear the ball.
Mike Hawkins has been absent a little bit this season. He's been on a little bit of a drag ever since his outstanding freshman season. He had 30 goals and 8 assists in that campaign. Off to a good start with 9 this year as the ball scrambled for behind the cage. McSorley's out of net, but Hawkins picks it up. McSorley's back there. Here's Brown. Bouncer stopped. Brown had some space, but that was a great stop by McSorley.
That was a great stop. Brown put the ball right low, and I think McSorley caught it with his foot. It was a nice low shot to the corner by Brown.
Griffin Brown, the leading offensive attackman, he's got 12 goals this season, has led the team every single year he's been in Hamilton. And Boston University gets things started with Tommy Nook, the junior from Ohio.
Kind of an expected little bit of a sloppy start with the cold and the start of Patriot League play.
And there's a stinger that goes through. That's a goal for Jake Cates. He's been tearing it up. His first goal today coming off a 4-goal performance against Bellarmine in that last game. BU with the 1-0 lead.
And Cates, right as they cleared the ball, hard right-handed dodge and just ripped it past Collins up top. It'll be interesting to watch Colgate to see if they decide to slide a little earlier to Cates or a little earlier to the midfield in general.
Cates, the sophomore from Maryland, one of many Maryland players on this BU team, gets the first score of the day. And Colgate, after having an early offensive possession, Brown had the shot, it didn't go. So now they'll try to get it again as Feeney wins the faceoff. He's been their go-to guy for a few years now. Now 1 for 2 today, averaging just under 15% on the season. It's Griffin Brown, 15 from cage. Gets it to Hawkins as Badley comes off.
And Hawkins is drawing the pull from BU. That eliminates his ability to go behind the cage on the short stick and invert this BU defense.
So you think you're going to see Colgate work a little bit more from X here?
With their attack and with the pole drawn on Hawkins, they will dodge from back behind or attack these short sticks up top, as you see here.
But Minikis driving right alley, getting whacked at by that long pole. Flick to the other side. Brown stings it.
And Minikis drew the double team and a very nice redirection to that backside to find the shooter Brown for an overhand shot driven low into the cage.
Colgate head coach Matt Carwick in his second season has been very complimentary of Minikis' lacrosse IQ, created that space, and then Brown gets his 13th goal of the season. That leads the squad, and the Raiders have tied this up at 1 early on in this game.
And as we didn't see with the BU goal previously, BU slid quickly to the midfield dodging, which opened up Brown on the backside.
Colgate offense starting to light up here. Just under 3 minutes into this first quarter of action, the Patriot League opener for both these sides, as Malcolm Feeney wins his second in a row.
And as always, these faceoffs will be so important in this game to determine the possession battle and who wins it for either of these teams.
And especially since Boston University is such a tenacious defensive team, leading the nation in caused turnovers per game.
They're leading the nation in caused turnovers, and Colgate, while playing that incredibly tough competition, has given up a lot of goals, so they'll want to see those numbers decrease here in this game.
Got to play with security. Here's Nicky Petkovic running through X. He's got Ellerton poking at him, and Minikis gets it straight away.
Now Hawkins has a short stick here coming out of the box, and they quickly switch to the pole so he can't dodge from behind the cage.
He tries to get a shot off, can't do it, and it's kicked in. They call it good. Parker badly getting a little bit creative.
Wow, that was a interesting shot from Hawkins, backhanded. I think it kicked off the goalie back out in front of the cage, and then kicked in there.
Looks like it might have been Belanger.
And historically, you would call that a garbage goal in lacrosse, maybe with the balls bouncing in front of the cage. But there really are no garbage goals. It all counts the same.
That was certainly creative, certainly unusual. There's been many unusual things that have happened in this game. Definitely not the first, but Colgate now with the lead. Possibly the most unusual thing of the weekend, though, has to be back a little bit further east in central New York. You got Syracuse women's lacrosse, currently playing Maryland in women's lacrosse. They refused to travel to Syracuse, even though it was perfect weather yesterday.
That was a strange situation. Perfect weather, 3 o'clock game. They play inside the dome, but nonetheless, Syracuse is down there with the game starting. Syracuse women's lacrosse down there with the game starting here at noon, same time as this game.
Well, right now we're focused on Patriot League action. It's Colgate up 2-1 over BU. A little under 5 minutes in. Griffin Brown. He's going to the right alley. He's got a pole. He tries to turn his way free.
And this success on the faceoff is excellent start for Colgate, being able to give their defense rested time and wear down this BU defense. Make them play a lot of minutes.
Being very conscious with the clock, not rushing anything. Still 35 seconds left, and that one sails out of bounds.
As Petkovic there drove for his left hand, Brown was just a little too close. They needed to work out their spacing. Either Brown needed to clear through to allow Petkovic more room to dodge for his left or drift away. That pass was way too close of a pass to make that hard, and that's why you saw that ball bounce out of bounds.
BU still has to clear, finally do. It's the long pole, Chase Levesque chasing across and gives it off behind to Niedringhaus as he steps off.
Look for this matchup here, 11 Dalto with Donahue covering him, number 44. See how BU tries to get D'Alto free and able to either dodge against one of Colgate's not number one cover guys as Donahue or against the short stick.
Had a lane there, but it closes up. And now here's a shot that goes through for Niedringhaus.
And Niedringhaus there drove hard with his right hand, putting his shoulder down, almost as if he was posting up on the low post in basketball and then just got his hands free and was able to put a high-to-high shot.
Well, he's got plenty of size to use in a low post, hypothetically. 6'3", 210 pounds out of St. Louis, Missouri. That's his 5th goal of the season, and he's been dominant like that all year.
And I got to say, I saw that he was 6'3" on the roster, but he looks even bigger than that here on the field. With the helmet, maybe he's 6'4", 6'5", I think.
They have a sneakers height. Maybe there's a cleats height. Maybe he's got another inch or two.
And it's true. When the field gets a little frozen, too, your cleats don't sink in, so you add a little bit of height there.
So now we're all tied at 2. It's Feeney and a switch up at the face-off Vex. This time it goes to Kevin Snyder taking the draw. But on the infraction, it goes to the Terriers.
Yeah, and I saw Snyder getting warm on the sideline after those first couple of draws where BU wasn't able to win. The coaches quickly went to make a change. A lot of times with these face-offs, it's a matchup thing. It's hard to do face-off math. If one guy beats someone from another program, then when they come play a different player, that matchup is completely different, and they might have a completely different result.
Well, a lot of the face-off guys usually have different strengths. Typically on any given team, there's a power guy and a quick guy. And it seems like Kevin Snyder might be the quick option here.
That is a great point. Great point.
Left side, turn around. Straight away, Cates has it, loses, picked up by Colgate. Recorralled, on the doorstep, bounces through. There's the fist pump from Luis Perfetto. That's his 8th goal of the season.
And Cates there dropped the ball. He had the stick in his right hand, should have had it in his left as he cut, but made the headsy play to attack that ground ball and create that turnover and open opportunity right on the crease.
Perfetto has been dominant throughout his entire freshman campaign. The Long Island native has a goal, or at least 1 point, in every single game now, coming off a 4-goal, 1-assist performance against Bellarmine last weekend. So here comes Feeney and Snyder again. Snyder won the first one on a Feeney infraction. He's now 16 for 27 on the year. And here come the guys from the wings. Feeney gets it. He spins free.
It looks like Feeney was able to win that clamp as well, which will be good for Colgate going forward if he continue to win it. He won it, not completely cleanly as you saw him wiggle that stick and try to get the clean clamp onto the ground.
He comes away with it. Now the Raiders working on offense, trying to tie this game back up at 3.
And now Hawkins has that short stick up with the quick switch here with the long pole to get a long pole matched up on.
Levesque goes to cover. And now the ball reverses field. Minikis down the alley. Up to Belanger, tries to wind up. He gets caught up by 3. And a ball on the ground again. BU takes it away. Back with that tenacious defense, leading the nation in turnovers forced. Now ahead, here's the long pole, Will Carson. Over to the right doorstep, a little too high. Timmy Lee couldn't bring it down. It goes out of bounds. Colgate gets it back.
And that was a golden opportunity for the Terriers here. D'Alto maybe getting a little too fancy trying to fake and then throw across crease.
For Timmy Lee, that would have been his 15th straight game with a goal. Instead, Raiders have it on the other end. It's Nicky Petkovic at X.
And you saw the 10-man ride there from BU with the goalie pulled. That's why you saw that shot at the cage.
Now Colgate taking a slower approach. Here's Cadigan at X.
Cadigan, the attackman, has a short stick, so he might try to dodge here.
Out in front, here's Hawkins. And if foot was in the crease, goal does not count.
Looked like he might have been pushed a little bit from behind to get.
Yeah.
But needless to say, the ref made the call. Maybe his foot was on there before he got pushed, which overrides the push, and then gives the ball back to the Terriers.
And now BU pushing it the other way. It's with Matt Hilburn, the sophomore from Pennsylvania. Starting to see some new faces come onto the field. Right now, Michael Gottlieb, another freshman, hands it over to Niedringhaus. And now here's Gottlieb going right side. Over to X. BU taking their time, working it around. Still trying to get hands free. And a takeaway by Donahue. He's running ahead with the pole, getting whacked at. Loses it. Back with it again. Forced out. Gottlieb tries to pick it up. Here's Niedringhaus. Another pickup for the long pole. And he circles out, slows things down. Little sidewinder. Goes a bit wide. BU backs up.
A lot of opportunity here as this game has been up and down. There have been a lot of loose balls and transition opportunities out of those loose balls. So the team that can collect themselves and make smart, consistent plays off the loose balls will probably be the one that comes out on top here throughout the day.
Right now it's BU up top, 3-2. 6.5 left in this first quarter. Patriot League opener for both these teams here in Hamilton. Look at that. Sean Nelson's lost his stick, and he's just running off.
I think it's a broken stick, and whenever you break that stick, you cannot continue to play, so you do have to run off the field.
And the shot goes wide. Check that. BU backs up. Timmy Lee, the sophomore, taking it back in.
BU here on the invert. They have the short stick midfielder, defensive midfield for Colgate behind that cage, and Colgate will fall into a tighter defense in front of the cage.
Here's Niedringhouse, can't get his second. Bounces out. Who's closest? It's Colgate.
Great hustle there by the defender and awareness when you're playing defense and a shot goes, your first instinct is to turn and run after it, but oftentimes you don't know exactly where it went, so great awareness to find that ball and beat the attacker to the end line.
That was Parker Badley who beat it out. Working with a long pole right now. He's been switching between LSM and short stick defensive midfielder slots this season.
He is. He's been more of a Swiss Army knife, playing both short stick, D-mid, long pole midfield, and then also some O-mid. So he's done a little bit of everything for the Raiders.
Very versatile player. Has a goal and an assist this season. Right now he is not on that offensive end. It's Belanger getting whacked at. Here he comes towards cage. Feet up top. Petkovic knocked away. Griffin Brown trying to get it back. Shoved to the ground. And that seems like an easy call to make.
Easy push call there. Hit him in the back. Went right down when the ball's on the ground. Going to be a ground ball push every time.
Brown tries to get his revenge, and he does.
Brown, such a sniper from outside, and ran off the pick to his right hand and let it rip from that spot that he likes. I think he scored 2 goals from right on the football hash mark there, right about 10 yards from the cage.
And that is number 2 of the day. Griffin Brown continuing to dominate. 5th goal in the last couple of games. Had 4 against Hobart last weekend. And he continues his dominance over BU as well. Had a hat trick in last year's meeting.
He has been such an explosive player, especially a shooter for that right hand. Colgate's offense really will work, and as you see them work, they'll dodge in one spot to try to have Brown free for a right-handed shot in another.
A battle of the 235s again. This time it's Kevin Snyder. He's going ahead, and he's forced out. He'll dish it off and get off.
35 is a great face-off number. It's a real hardy, hard-working number, which these face-off guys are.
A lot in the 30s. 35, 37. Typically working in that range. Usually, if not, they're probably a defender.
Exactly. You don't like to see like a 2 or a 3 right there taking the face-off.
And BU restarting this offense. It's a tie game now. Terriers trying to retake the lead. Up ahead, looking for space. Here's Dalto. Held scoreless so far. Leading all freshmen in the nation with 12 goals scored. Out in front, here's a chance and a bouncer. Timmy Lee, 15th straight game with a score.
And what ball movement there, tic-tac-toe right into the crease for the goal. But how that all started was Dialto started on the interior to make Donahue, who's covering him, the slide guy. They initiated from up top, drew Donahue a few steps, and then got the ball to Dialto with a mismatch with the short stick on him, and pulled him behind the cage to drop the Raiders into that invert defense.
When you're the Terriers and you have so many options, it's so hard to key in on one player. All 6 starting attackmen and midfielders have at least 1 point in each of the last 3 games.
That is one heck of a stat for this BU team to have that much dispersion of scoring.
And Kevin Snyder winning yet again. He has 3 victories already in 4 tries at the X.
He looks to match up very well here with Feeney.
It started with face-offs going with a different option, but it seems like he'll be the consistent guy that BU uses today.
if he keeps up winning, he definitely will be. They'll probably stick with them, and that's why it's so important, as you mentioned earlier, to have two separate guys, a speed, a power guy, or just two different options at the face-off X.
And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Sometimes in platoon systems, guys will play the entire game. Sometimes it'll be even split. Sometimes one more than the other. Right now, we're in a 4-3 BU lead. 3:20 to go in this first quarter. And here's Phil Weiss trying to break free. He's got a shorty. Here comes the pull.
Quick early slide there by the Raiders.
Now far side of the crease. And a whistle call. Timeout on the field. Patriot League opener here in Hamilton and the home opener for the Colgate Raiders. Right now behind against Boston University 4-3 here at Crown Field. Brandon Ross, Andrew Watkins here with you. And this has been a very sloppy game so far. High scoring, still very good offense, but a lot of ball on the ground action.
A lot of ground balls for both teams. And those ground balls really create a lot of opportunity on the offensive end because the defensive team or both teams getting the ground ball will swarm to one side to get that ground ball. And on the backside, there's a lot of open players. And if you reverse that ball, a ground ball reversal, it can get a lot of opportunity for you offensively.
We've seen both of these attack units take advantage of ground balls so far, getting ahead of the defense and getting some scores. Right now, it's the Terriers with the lead. A chance to pad it a little more here. Here's Vince DeAlto, one of the top freshmen in the country here for this BU team, and that pass goes way too wide.
Way too wide and just a little rush. They weren't even set up in their offensive set there, BU, and he just whipped it, trying to get it across the field very quickly. So a little rush there by DeAlto. He should take a deep breath and relax when he's down there on the offensive end.
And even though he's playing very well as a freshman, there may well still be some jitters there he's got to get through.
Exactly. And the move from high school to freshman, those looks aren't always open right away as they were in high school. The defenses are just more advanced and better.
And this defense is shutting down Griffin Brown right now. Does already have a pair, but guarding him close. Shot from the corner, and he puts it in. Hat trick already. Less than 13 minutes for Griffin Brown.
And I don't even think the BU goalie there was ready for that shot. He just got to GLE and wrapped his hands around the cage.
And Joe McSorley has been doing all right, but now that's 4 goals allowed to just 3 saves. Colgate peppering them pretty hard right now, and we're all tied up at 4 in this opener between these two sides to start Patriot League play. BU coming in 2-3. Some tough opponents they've had to get past, coming off a win against Bellarmine on Tuesday.
Win against Bellarmine, but as you said, Patriot League opener for both teams, and that really changes the season. It becomes the real season for each of these teams in the Patriot League.
For both of these teams, worth keeping in mind, BU in an 11-6 team last season made it to the Patriot League semifinals, and then the Raiders making it all the way, having a good season as well, but, not a great season, but progress, baby steps shown in the first season with Matt Carwick as head coach. Out in front, here's Terrace, and he bangs it in.
And Brown, after having those 3 goals, so much attention drawn to him, and he's able to find the cutter on the interior while the BU defense was looking back behind the cage to try to get a timely slide to Brown.
First goal of the year for Marshall Terrace. Massachusetts native finds that space. And now the Raiders have flipped the switch, and they're up by 1.
Back to this all-important face-off X here. And as you've seen, the momentum has kind of flown with the face-off. When BU's been winning, they've been able to score. And oftentimes in lacrosse, it's very rare that a team loses the face-off battle and wins the game.
Malcolm Feeney wins his first one in the fuse. Snyder had taken 3 in a row for BU. Colgate's offense has 2 unanswered, trying to make it 3. Cadigan, scoreless so far. Hawkins has 1. Most of it coming from Griffin Brown, already with a hat trick. Took him less than 13 minutes. Here he has it again near GLE. Gets some space, can't get the shot off. A scramble for it out right at the 25, and here comes BU.
And BU had fallen into zone defense there to try to slow down this Raiders attack.
And the Terriers moving quickly, trying to get a quick shot off, but instead slowing it down. Tried to get that going in transition, couldn't find the looks, so they're getting back into their normal set.
And they'll try to take this clock all the way down, not give the Raiders another opportunity here.
Game clock underneath the shot clock, only 30 seconds left in this first quarter of action between the Terriers and Raiders. Back at X with Perfetto. Getting whacked at by Nelson. Tries to work far side. 15 left. Up top, Niedringhaus gets some space to his left. Loses the stick. Knocked to the turf. Shovel attempt. Skies high. Flags fly.
Flags fly. That was a great double team by Colgate, but the hands of the Colgate defender rode up into the helmet of the BU, and then that's what drew the flag. Anytime those hands get into the helmet area, it's going to draw the flag.
First EMO opportunity for either side today. It'll be BU off the cross-check committed by Will Sidari. He'll sit for 1 minute.
And they'll hold the ball here probably for 6 seconds and then take the ball in the second quarter. So you probably will not see them try to attack the cage in this 6 seconds that's left.
We'll see if Jake Cates tries to do anything. He's got a goal already in this one. Clock restarts, and he does opt to run out the final seconds of this first quarter. It's been a good one, a lot of offense. Right now, the Raiders out in front by 1. 5-4 over the BU Terriers. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on the Patriot League Network. 1 quarter down here at Crown Field. It's a 5-4 Colgate lead over BU in this Patriot League opener. And BU starts with an EMO in this second quarter. Will Sidari sitting for a minute after committing a cross-check with a few seconds left in that first.
BU starting the motion in their man up here, dragging that top center player who's playing next to the crease and then pulling him back out. Sitting in a 3-3 right now.
Plenty of space for Perfetto, closed up. Works in front of the cage. Here's Lee. He's got one already.
And the Raiders doing a nice job getting some pressure out on the hands of this BU team.
Sidewinder too far high, out of bounds. BU backs it up. Only a few seconds left on this EMO. Terriers trying to take advantage. Only 10 left on that clock. Straight up, it's Nook. 2 left on the man up. Trying to turn free, can't do it. And so back to even strength for the Raiders.
And only 20 on the shot clock here, so a quick set for BU to get into their offense and get rolling.
The Poles have been closing out those attackmen so far in this possession. They just got to do it for another 10 seconds. Perfetto spins at X. Shot, he scores! That's Matt Hilburn, his first of the day and number 1 of the year.
And he did a nice job of cutting while his defender was looking at the man with the ball in his stick. Whenever you see the back of the helmet of your defender, you want to cut right off the back of his helmet. And he cut right off his defender's back of his helmet to get open and put the ball in the back of the net.
Matt Hilburn, the sophomore from Pennsylvania, gets goal number 1 of 2020. Had only had 1 assist through the first 4 games. Rather surprising after he had started all 16 last year for the Terriers on that midfield unit. And a long face-off here between Feeney and Snyder, really trying to twist it free, and as all men come in from the wings. And it's Snyder who comes away with it. Oh, up in the air. Could go either way. Here's Feeney. He's got it. And then BU gets it back.
That was a as they say, bloody ground ball on the face-off. Both players, Feeney coming up a little bit limp in there. Those face-off guys battle, fight, and wrestle against each other all day, and it can get vicious.
Walks off the field all right, and now BU with the chance to take the lead, tied up at 5 early in the second.
BU's had a lot of success in the invert sets here. So we'll see if they go back to it. Now they've been working this two-man game behind the cage. This resulted in their last goal as well, where they have a short stick and a long pole back there, and they'll be setting picks.
Brooks that shorty on the near side. Ball back on the ground at X. Collins comes out of cage. A little bit risky, but it pays off.
Dangerous, that ball bouncing in front, right in the center of the crease. Looked like it almost could have kicked in the cage.
That one goes all the way ahead to Brown. He's got plenty of space. He's charging in, and he sails it too high.
What a one-handed ground ball. He just scooped that up one-handed and took it right to the rack.
Wasted no time trying to get it off. Now the Raiders working it a little slower. Getting it around. That was a nice catch there by Hawkins to keep it from going out of bounds.
Yeah, if you're this Raiders coaching staff, you want this offense just to settle down a little bit here, make the passes a little shorter to make it a little easier, not so many high balls.
Minikis off the screen from Belanger. Goes back to him. Out in front, he scores! Minikis with number 4 of the year.
This Raiders offense is moving the ball very well. They drew the slide, threw it down to Brown, and Brown just kicked it right back in front so they could find Minikis in the center there where his man had slid and then was a little slow to recover back.
Minikis, one of those smaller attackmen, not calling him too small, but 5'10", 175. He's not a guy who's going to bully you over, but he's a guy who can find that space, and he does so right there to give Colgate the lead.
Very skilled and cerebral player out there finding the space where he can be open like he did in that last goal to be able to shoot the ball past the goalie.
Head coach Greg Raymond over at Hobart, who Colgate played last week, gave a lot of respect to Minikis, saying he's a guy who dodges with his head up, has a great ability to see the field. We saw it right there. And Feeney cannot win this faceoff, but Colgate still has it. It's with Nicky Petkovic starting this attack.
Hawkins with the long pole, always coming out of that box quick and ready to attack.
And a turnover on the near side goes back to BU. Pushed out of the boundary, so it stays with the Terriers. Still need to clear. They do so with plenty of time. And a hard charge coming here from Gallup. Loses it for a second. Picked back up by the Raiders, forcing that turnover. Another big possession here for the Raiders, a chance to double the lead.
Both these teams a little sloppy in the transition game here in the second quarter. Immediately when they get the ball into their offensive zone, they've been looking to attack, but have turned the ball over several times.
Both of these teams perfect clearing so far, but it hasn't been as great. Well, now I should eat my words. Here comes BU back. The first turnover on the ride so far for either side.
I think that's what they call the announcer's curse there.
Jinx is the proper term.
Jinx.
Here's Tommy Nook, scoreless so far. And BU with a chance to tie it up a couple minutes into this second quarter. Here comes a sidewinder. It stops. Karam's all the way back out to midfield. And BU has it for a second. Looks like it might go out of bounds. Stays in the boundary. Colgate has it for a second. Brown loses it. Picked back up by the long pole. It's Matt Gardner who came in to scoop it up, making his first start of the season. First start of his career with BU after transferring from nearby Lemoyne.
Not sure what the officials are speaking about here at midfield. Maybe they're discussing whether this should be a over and back call here, but
maybe the ball might have gone out of bounds along the boundary.
Another possibility, absolutely.
Not quite clear. We'll find out soon enough.
Could have also been an offsides call on that midline. There was a lot of confusion there with both teams on the subbing box and how many men were on the field and where people were if they were on one side of the field or not in terms of the midline. But it does look like they're giving the ball to BU on the back line, which is where it ended up. So I guess in essence it's a no call.
We can call it that. That seems to be what it is. No call made. No one's sitting in a penalty box right now. No infraction was whistled. No flag went flying. So BU launches their attack again. Trailing by 1 against Colgate.
quicker slides here by this Colgate defense to these attacking midfielders of BU.
What does that do for the Raiders defensively?
Well, it creates this opportunity here and disadvantage for the Raiders where you have an attackman guarded by a short stick.
It's the short stick on right now. Ryan Decker popped out, but BU still has it. Here's a chance left side. Perfetto, feet in front too strong, bounces out, but a flag flies. And it looks like that is going to go against Colgate.
Looks like they're calling a hold there. Could have been either or a ward or a hold. Sometimes those defenders, and this was a short stick defender, gets their hands up into the body of the attacking midfielder and can just stop them from dodging, and it looks or appears to be a hold. But I thought that one could have gone either way, either a hold or a ward there on the offense.
The midfielder, Marshall Terrace, goes off for 30 seconds. And with 9 minutes left in the second quarter, BU has their second EMO. Perfetto. Out right in front. Scoop shot can't go. Trickles out. Terriers back it up. 10 seconds left with the man up. Last chance before Terrace can come back on.
And we see a four-man barrel there for BU on the left-handed side, so where the players will have their stick in their left hand side of the field.
Right to the doorstep. That was a bad feed. Well out of bounds. That goes to Colgate. I don't know why you don't just shoot there.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. You always want to try to make the extra pass, but when you're right on top of the cage, like you said, I'm not sure why he didn't just turn it and try to put that one home.
Timmy Lee does have a goal today, but Hilburn, who made that errant pass, also has one. On the other end, here's Minikis. He's forced back by the pull to X.
Especially in that situation where Lee wasn't in front of the cage.
Long pole sails too high. Colgate backs up again, and there's an easy flag to fly. Helmet comes off.
And this we might see a multiple minute penalty or a locked in penalty. And that we saw there was Badley, who, as you mentioned earlier, and we talked about it a little bit, has been doing a lot for this team, and he's not afraid to come down and let the ball fly like we saw.
He gets the shot off. It'll be a 1 minute penalty. It'll be served by Will Carson, long pole defender from Washington. So Colgate with its first DMO, they'll have a full minute.
They come out in a 3-3 set, look for them to motion to either a different set or just get their players moving to try to get this BU team to move.
Got some space, and Brown stings it. Doubles the lead to 7-5.
And Brown has been very efficient in the man-up. He has scored many goals this season as Colgate's man-up has been a real bright spot for them. You just saw there where he likes to shoot from right-handed, high to high, letting that ball rip.
Fourth goal today for Griffin Brown. The senior continuing his reign of dominance here for Colgate in his final campaign in the maroon and white. And he got another change at the faceoff fix. Sean Christman took the first, got replaced, now back on atop the C for the Terriers going up against Malcolm Feeney. Christman redeems himself. Gets his first victory of the day as the Terriers trying to cut into this 2-goal deficit.
And this is the type of game that Colgate wants to play. High tempo, a lot of scoring. They probably don't want as many ground balls or turnovers, maybe a little cleaner passing game. But this style, high tempo game is how they want to play and how Coach Carwick has built this team.
You know, there's a saying in hockey that a 2-goal lead is the most dangerous lead to have. Same could apply to lacrosse, because you could get a little overconfident, think you have it a little more secure than you do, and at the same time, 1 goal shifts the momentum so much.
It does, and it is tough with a 2-goal lead, because as you get to that 3-4 goal lead, it becomes much more hard to overcome. So the next goal when you have a 2-goal lead is really the most important one.
And it looks like a penalty may be coming here against Colgate. Will Sadari going to the bench. Looks like he's about to serve his second.
Yeah, and he got a hold there, maybe just got tied up. I'm not so sure that was a very accurate call or more of a call where the BU player kind of fell down. It looked like he did a little bit worse than he did. But these refs, they're watching so much out here on the field, it's tough to decipher that in live, full-speed action.
And so he's off for 1 minute. BU with a prime opportunity to cut down the lead.
They changed up their formation here, starting in a 1-4-1.
Doing a little less inversion than they have been. Working more from in front of cage. Here's a shot that sails high. BU again backs it up. Still 44 seconds, man up.
That was a rip in the man-up situation. And a shot you can kind of always get in the man-up. So I'm sure the BU coaching staff might be telling these guys to work it a little bit longer and see what better opportunities they can get.
Right on the doorstep, diving chance. And he gets the foot in the crease.
In the crease call there. The official coming in has a good view of it and made that call. But a good save for this Colgate D, a good stop to come up with that stop on defense.
Especially a team that's given up so much, and they give up the ball right there. Here's a prime chance. Here's Lee. He can't bounce it in. Colgate the closest, and they get the ball back.
So a golden opportunity for BU there, but just can't hit the cage. And their shooting has been a little bit less accurate than I'm sure they would like.
Colgate heaves it ahead. Still a man down for another few seconds. Petkovic can't corral it. BU has it back, but that's fine. Colgate back to full strength.
And BU there has been pulling their goalie in 10-man riding. So really pushing up the field and pushing the pressure on this clear in Colgate. Colgate's been trying to throw these long passes early in the clear. They have longer amount of time so they can wait and break down this clear a little bit more than they have been.
Now the second time they failed to clear today. BU attacking at the moment with Niedringhaus. Reverses over, gets back to Vince D'Alto. Still scoreless today. And again, can't get it to go.
And that's just an easy save there for Collins. Not that any are easy. I mean, you couldn't pay me to stand in there on a 20-degree day and take shots. But a shot that's right to his stick side, right in the basket. A college goalie is going to make that save routinely.
Especially with no misdirection, any trickeration. Basically able to match stick for stick, get the web up there. And off an infraction, here comes BU to the other end. Down by 2, trying to cut the deficit down. Jared Nugent. And here it is with Tommy Nook, the junior from Cleveland. Into the alley, feeds to X. Perfetto looking for space, can't find it. Check that, that is Timmy Lee. And then Niedringhaus sends it right side. To the GLE goes Lee. Still 40 seconds on the shot clock. BU with plenty of time working this around. And Niedringhaus tried to get a little too fancy.
Just moving before he caught the ball there. He was looking to shoot, and didn't look that ball fully into his stick.
And a bad pass inside. Can't get corralled by Terrace. Here's a chance for the Terriers. Here comes D'Alto. He gets closed in by Minikis, trying to get past the shorty. He had the double team there for a second, but it's recycled out.
And this Colgate defense, they've asked him to play a lot of defense here in the last couple minutes.
Almost a forced turnover there. Long pole picks it up for the Raiders. Flipped ahead, and here they come in transition. No numbers, so Colgate likely to slow it down. Griffin Brown, though, still tenacious, getting poked at. Into the alley he goes. Dives towards the cage, and he scores!
And what a goal by Griffin Brown. Just relentless there on the dodge. Dodging past 2 or 3 defenders to put that ball away. And that was one of those where they, like you said, they didn't have the numbers, so I was a little hesitant to see him go to the cage so quickly, fearing a turnover after this defense has played so much defense in the last couple minutes. But he makes your better instincts. He has better instincts than me and goes to the cage to put that ball in the back of the net.
Griffin Brown continuing to dominate. 8 goals for the Raiders, and he already has 5. Timeout on the field. Just under 4 left to play in the second quarter. We'll be right back on the Patriot League Network. 4 minutes left here in the first half. Colgate with the edge over BU after Griffin Brown nailed his 5th goal of the day in less than 30 minutes. And back at the face-off X, it'll be Malcolm Feeney and Sean Chrisman again. This time it's the Raiders.
And to come back and put that ball and score to go up 3 was crucial for this Raiders defense because they have been playing so long down here against this BU offense.
Heavy chuck ahead. Colgate thought they were there first. It goes to BU though.
So they're 10-man riding, and a strategy to clear the ball in the 10-man ride is to shoot it at the cage, which I think they called, but like you said, BU might have been closer. They called it as he was closer.
McSorley was out of the net, so Decker chucked it ahead. BU still has to clear. They only got 5 seconds. Knocked out of the air, but not enough. Here's Tommy Nook moving for BU. Just 3 minutes left in this first half. Terriers trying to cut into this 3-goal deficit. D'Alto held scoreless so far. Can't get it that time. So close, though.
I think that tipped off the top of the pipe, and he has not been afraid to shoot whatsoever. They were subbing there, and he'll take it hard to the cage and not afraid to shoot. And as a freshman, that's a hard thing to do.
That's his 3rd shot of the day. All of them have missed. And now it's Perfetto, another freshman, trying to get this offense going from X. A spin move near the cage. Works off a screen, still can't find the space. Flip back to X. Near side, GLE. Knocked to the ground. Back on his feet, has a triple team. Still trying to get it free. Hands still locked in. Only 3 seconds to shoot. Here's BU with another try, and he scores! With just a second left on the shot clock, Nook with his first of the day.
And Nook with the quick release. Caught it left-handed, caught it back into a shooting position, and let it rip. I think I hit a crossbar right down into the cage. So an unfortunate goal given up at the end of a shot clock, but a nice shot and nice quick release by Nook.
Definitely not the home team bounce the Raiders were hoping for.
And those goals at the end of the shot clock, end of the quarter, are ones that coaches always go back and look at and really they highlight on the film in the upcoming week to try to eliminate those. If you could just get the guys to play a little bit harder and not make those mistakes at the end of those clocks, then you get an automatic turnover.
And off the giveaway, here comes Thor Adamick. Colgate up by 2. Chance to get that goal back that they just surrendered to Nook. Brown has been dominant so far. He has 5. Scanning the options in front of him. Got 2 long poles waiting to guard him down.
He has the BU defenseman hung up, so he'll look to feed here. But I'd like to see him attack and kind of put some pressure on this BU defenseman as well. He might have stepped in the crease there.
Yep, got that left foot a little bit too close inside.
What they call the hanger there, playing the hanger, when you have the defensive player hung up in front of the cage and you're behind, it looks really dangerous because you can feed without someone on you. But a lot of times it creates these jams into the crease that are unnecessary because people get a little too excited that they have this freedom to feed from behind the cage.
Didn't work out that time for the Raiders, and now the Terriers down by 2, trying to get closer before halftime. Just over a minute left in this second quarter.
And the question becomes for them on the offensive end, how do you manage this end of quarter situation where you have a little less time on the shot clock than on the game clock? So do you attack right away and not worry if Colgate gets the ball back, or do you try to take that game clock all the way down so if Colgate were to get the ball back, it would be with a very small amount of time?
If you were BU, seeing how they've been playing, what would you do? Would you milk or would you go for the first open shot?
8-6 high-scoring game, I'd go for it.
Goes for it there, no good. Still no dice there from Timmy Lee. Colgate has it with 30 seconds left in the half. Connor Brook, the freshman midfielder. Back to X with Cadigan. 15 seconds left. Raiders trying to pad the lead. Here comes Brown. Can't get number 6. McSorley takes it off his knee. Here's a quick move for BU. Heave ahead. Bounces over the head of Collins. Well out of bounds. And that should close this out. Won't be any chance for Colgate to get a shot on Cage with this little time left. Or maybe not. That was really close, but no dice. That heave all the way across the field from Donahue didn't go, but that's about as close as you can get on that.
It is. There was 2 seconds left, and he almost knocked that ball off the attacking players down here into the cage.
And that almost got on SportsCenter. Both these teams heading to the locker room. Colgate with plenty to be happy about. Potentially on the verge of the first win of the season for the Raiders. 8-6 Colgate over Boston through the first 30 minutes. Well, it's blistering cold here in Hamilton. 18 degrees outside, but the offense certainly not. Colgate with an 8-6 lead over Boston University through the first 30 minutes. And right now you got Malcolm Feeney and Sean Chrisman out to take the draw to start out this second half. This is a long one. Guys already in from the wings. An infraction called. Possession going to the Raiders to start this second half.
A hold there called on the Raiders on the face-off. And this first half for the Colgate has really been exactly what they needed after those very difficult opening games and the tough competition they played to get out to a lead here. 8-6 is crucial. It gives them some confidence and some gusto going into the second half.
The Raiders winless so far this season, have taken on very tough teams. Number 10 UNC, number 4 Syracuse at the time, now number 3. Also Princeton, a very tough unranked team, as that one stopped by Sean Collins. And also a Hobart squad that lost to Syracuse yesterday, but still leading the country in goals per game.
That Hobart squad, they are a legitimate top 15, top 20 team. I think they were ranked in the top 20 this past week, and their offense is really dynamite and explosive, and we saw that last week.
Griffin Brown has also been explosive today. He already has 5 goals. His last shot missed, but he has it again. He's chasing through X, but has a double team, dishes it off. Petkovic stings it.
A great start to the second half here for Colgate. Coming out, not getting a goal on their first opportunity, but then riding it back and being opportunistic off that ride to find the open player for a left-handed shot there by Petkovic.
Petkovic, that lefty attacker, well known for that. But Coach Carwick compliments his lacrosse IQ more than anything, finding the space, being able to see 2 passes ahead.
Exactly. 2 passes ahead, and you saw him on that movement there. He saw that Brown was carrying the ball for his right hand and moved to get himself open for a left-handed shot. So exactly like you said, he's thinking 2 passes, 2 movements ahead, and that's really what you need to be doing on the offensive end of the field, is think about where that ball is going to move to get yourself in a position to be dangerous when the ball does move there.
And for Petkovic, that ends up being his second. He didn't have one at the end of that first half. What happened was there was a goal in that second quarter that got kicked in off a shot from Mike Hawkins, was originally credited to Hawkins, but after review, credit for the goal has been given to Petkovic. So he has a pair today, and he's coming off a 3-goal performance against Hobart last week, continuing to dominate for this Raiders team.
And I've been really impressed with this Raiders defense as well. Their offense, obviously, having put up 9 goals, is very impressive, but this defense has played some tough stints where they've had long defensive possessions and held this BU team down.
And Colgate gets the ball back off a BU penalty. Ryan Decker trying to clear. 10 seconds left for the Raiders to do so.
See, Colgate still having a little bit of trouble with this 10-man ride.
An 80-yard goal! Are you kidding me?
And that is a strategy in the 10-man ride. They, instead of trying to pass the ball down because the cage is open, you take that shot, and if the ball goes past the cage, as we saw in the first half, most of the time you can get that back up, so it's not a huge deal. But that time he stung it. And what you always want to try to do is those long poles shoot from their own 30 or right at that box line is aim for the top of the cage. So that way if you miss low, it's still going to go in. And if you miss high, it's an easy backup. You never want to drop it too short. So just a picture-perfect shot. We'll see if that changes BU's strategy of doing the 10-man ride here.
Will Sadari just delivers from 70 yards away from the cage. And that's his first career goal to boot. So how about that for him?
First career goal. Hopefully his record doesn't read like mine. That was the only way I scored a goal in my 4 years here playing at Colgate. Hopefully he'll have some more maybe on the offensive end of the field, pushing the ball up with this long pole.
Well, the Raiders have been doing pretty well today. They're up to double figures. 10-6 they lead over the Terriers right now. Patriot League opener for both of these sides. Colgate looking for win number 1 of the year. Brown's already got 5. Sends up to Hawkins.
And Colgate has a real opportunity here as they've been winning faceoffs and playing nice offense to push this lead to where they can take it into the fourth quarter and feel very comfortable. Obviously, no lead safe in the shot clock era, but feel a lot more comfortable than a 1, 2, 3 goal lead.
But especially important is maintaining control of the ball. Both of these teams have struggled with possession. 12 turnovers per side so far through 2 quarters and change. Pekovic loses it. In comes BU, and they get it with the long pole. Here's Roy Meyer, the freshman from Long Island. BU has numbers. Out in front. Here's a shot wide right.
And was that there on the turnover? Was that Reese Eddy? I think that might be the first time we're really talking about him. But he is number 23 on BU and just a tremendous defender for them. Has 14 caused turnovers we talked about previous to the game. Has really done a nice job on the Raiders attackers down here. He's kind of a throwback to an old school defender where he'll press out and be really dangerous with his stick, checking people. So fun guy to watch too from a former defenseman.
Eddie started his career at Canisius, played 2 seasons over there, set a Canisius record his second season with 28 caused turnovers, then transferred to BU last year. The Skinny Atlas native came in and set the BU program record with 34 caused turnovers last season.
And BU sticking with that 10-man ride. A lot of teams, when they 10-man ride, they live or die by it. And if they give up a goal, so what? They still create a few more turnovers. So that I wouldn't expect, or after I've seen them come back to the 10-man ride, don't expect them to go anywhere from that and continue to do that throughout the day. This BU offense has been taking a lot of outside shots. We'll see if they work the ball closer to the cage here in this possession.
And a couple of times where they've gotten close to the cage, too, they choose to make that extra pass, and it doesn't work out.
Correct, and that's always something you coach is the extra pass. That's the beauty of lacrosse is the ball movement. But they might have been a little bit overzealous with that extra pass. They've also had 2 moving picks behind the cage here in the last couple possessions. So that's something they'll have to clean up. That's their own, an uncaused turnover there.
Mike Hawkins clears it for Colgate with only a couple seconds left to do so. He's got a long pull on, gets some space now. He rockets up. He can't get it. Raiders back it up, though. Colgate's offense has been cooking since the second half got underway, outscoring 2-0 in this third quarter of action. So throughout the game, pretty even through both these sides, 21 shots apiece. The difference, though, is the saves made. Not too much. The amount they're getting on cage. BU hasn't gotten a lot of shots on cage. Colgate's been getting them right at Joe McSorley in net for BU.
And that has been something that's been noticeable is the shooting of the Raiders has been significantly better than BU's shooting here today.
Cooper Belanger lost it right in front of the cage. Could have made it a 5-goal game, but not quite the opportunity he had. So here comes BU.
And oftentimes that cutting player will look open inside, but it's just a matter of time before the defenders collapse back on him, and once that ball gets there, they're already there, which is kind of what you saw there on that play.
The Terriers have it on the offensive end now. 8:45 left in this third quarter. Now down by 4. Largest lead of the game for either side. You trying to get away from it. Matt Hilburn gives it up to Niedringhaus, who already has a goal today. Here's a cut to the middle from Weiss. Right side. Dodge to the left. Trying to get the shoulder free. Can't do it. Niedringhaus guarded by Connor Brook, trying to get space. Draws the double. Pass intercepted. Picked up. Shot wide.
Close run out there to the end line. Could have gone either way, but the ref gave it to BU here.
Here comes Perfetto, the freshman. To his right. Behind the back. Can't get it. So close. Could have been very fancy for Lee's second goal of the day. Instead, BU only has 8 seconds.
8 seconds on the shot clock. Not much time. You see a hard dodge here, just trying to get some sort of offensive generated, but going to be a shot clock violation.
Clock runs out. Refs tap their hats. And now Colgate clearing.
And back to that 10-man ride for BU where they have 2 or 3 poles here in the middle of the field.
And could have been burned hard, but Joe McSorley playing out of net intercepts it. Here's a chance right side now. Timmy Lee with a goal. Restarts it, sets it up top for Louis Perfetto.
And a nice job by this Raiders defense getting back in the hole after that turnover clear. It is a deadly opportunity for an offense when you turn the ball over on the ride. And so they did a nice job of getting back in, protecting their priorities closest to the cage, and working their way out to the BU defenders so they didn't have any open players.
Here's a wind, too strong. Vince D'Alto still scoreless.
With a good amount of shots, though, he's a freshman that's not afraid to let that ball rip, and so he's definitely dangerous here.
12 goals, the most of any freshman in the country. A flag's down. So essentially a free possession for BU. 8-on-8, Perfetto trying to find space. Ball back on the ground. Popped up again. Here's Timmy Lee. 19 seconds on the shot clock for BU. Lee's already got a goal. Turn. Feed to the left side. Shot! Stopped by Collins. Scooped up by Sidari. And here the penalty call will be made. And BU, after that shot goes no good, will get an EMO.
And the ball swung there around to the backside. So the Colgate defense was facing the left-handed player over here, Lee, and then they kicked the ball to that backside for a good opportunity. But Collins too good, and he's really come up with crucial saves too. A lot of balls that were in tight, close shots to him. He's been able to kind of bail this Raiders defense out when they need it. And I don't necessarily love that term with the goalie because all 6 defenders and the goalie always work together too. But he's done a nice job in cage today.
And something that Coach Carwick has said has been Collins' biggest struggle this season is when the other team goes on offensive run, he doesn't get the mental capacity up to stop it. So far, he's held BU from getting any runs today. As the Terriers down by 4, 6 left in this third quarter. Shot goes high. Collins snags it from the air.
And that ability to play through runs is something that is huge, especially for a goalie whose sole job is to stand in there, and while teams are going to score on you, be mentally strong enough to overcome that. And lacrosse in its nature is a game of runs.
And a sloppy turnover there by Colgate. 17th time they've coughed up the ball today.
And suddenly having some real trouble. It's harder on the man down to clear the ball, but having some real trouble on the clear.
And still 5 seconds left on the man up for BU. Doesn't look like they'll get a shot off before the clock runs out. They won't. To the left side, Perfetto. The freshman from Long Island. Tries to feed it back. Ball on the ground. Fight at the 20. Back with D'Alto. The freshman still scoreless. Tries to turn it over his back. Can't do it. Perfetto there first.
And a headsy back check there as Dialto came up and turned, driving hard with his left hand, turning back to his right, just nipping the top of that stick to send that ball flying.
Colgate calls timeout. Raiders are cruising here in this third quarter. A full goal lead for the Raiders over the BU Terriers. We'll be right back here on Patriot League Network. Back here at Crown Field in Hamilton, Colgate with a 10-6 lead over BU. And Luis Perfetto taking it back in off an errant shot for the Terriers. Trying to cut into this deficit. BU has been strong on defense, forcing a lot of turnovers, but thus far it hasn't translated into too much offense. Pass goes behind the intended target, Nook, and Colgate picks it off.
And this is where Colgate has struggled on the clear here in the second half. When they've cleared it, they've been pretty successful, but can they clear it? That's going to be the question of this second half.
Ball bounces past midfield and badly can't get it back. The BU moving quick the other way with numbers.
And now the legs of this Colgate defense have been playing defense for the past 6 minutes here. It's a tough task for them to do. Your legs start to get tired, and those mental errors, that's where you see when the players get tired, that's where you see those mental errors kick in.
And Colgate, it's not easy playing in this cold of weather. It does a number on the lungs, especially with the cold air. Only 18 degrees outside. The shot goes well high. Collins snags it. And here's a quick transition from the Raiders. A 4-on-3 coming here. Flick to the left. Shot stopped. That was a solid save by McSorley, falling to his backside.
McSorley dropped low but kept his stick high, which was able to scoop that ball up.
And a long pass gets turned back over by the Raiders. This has been really sloppy.
A little sloppy in the clearing game, cold hands, but also still early in the season. Even though this is a Patriot League game, it is still February. So lacrosse is still in its early season. So the mistakes you see here on the clear of the ride, the full field stuff, doesn't necessarily happen in April or May.
First conference game for both of these teams. BU coming in 2-3, Colgate 0-4. Raiders off a gauntlet of a schedule. BU with some tougher opponents, but not nearly as aggressive, as they have possession, trying to cut the 4-goal deficit down. Only 8 seconds left to clear. Ellerton has to make a decision, just flicks it beyond the midline with only a couple seconds to spare.
And so another dicey clear there. But really, we've had this back and forth on the clear and ride, but there haven't been a large amount of goals as a result of that. And that's odd. Often you see the clear and ride turnovers result in a lot more goals, even for both teams.
So far, Colgate 13 of 20 on clears, 13 of 15 for BU. Here's Phil Weiss. No goals today, has 2 on the year. Behind cage goes wild for Perfetto. Just barely keeps it in. BU needs an answer. Snagged out of the air. Whistle blown. And ball goes back to BU.
BU had the invert there with the short stick behind the cage, but nice job. Badly behind the cage, was able to knock it down, but pushed into the crease. So even though the player ended up in the crease, it was a loose ball push call.
Here's a shot wide left. And that last shot reset the shot clock for BU. So here comes that attack. Left side, bouncer good. Finally, Dialto finds the board. Make it 13 on the year for the freshman, and it's a 3-goal game.
And as his initial shot went out of bounds, BU got the backup. They scooped the ball up, and a short stick for BU, who was covered by a short stick, went behind the cage. But Dialto overruled him, went back there, and wanted that ball because he was covered by a short stick and maybe felt he had a good matchup there. And as a result, he did. And a nice inside roll, bringing the stick back to his right hand and closing out the defender to draw this game to a 3-goal game here.
A lot of finesse shown from the Kings Park High School grad, native on the Long Island. He's been dominant all year, had 3 goals and 2 assists in the last game against Bellarmine, keeping up the production here today. as it's Feeney and Chrisman again. This time Feeney the winner. A bad pass trying to deal it off. Thankfully, it looks like his Colgate team will recover.
So another faceoff that was won, but a ball that was thrown and knocked down creates a 50-50 ground ball. So if BU had come up with that, it would be a deceptive stat there where Feeney would have won the faceoff but actually lost possession. But Colgate was able to outbattle him and keep possession. So there's always a little bit more to look into with those faceoff numbers.
And especially the important thing was for the Raiders that they got that to the other side of the field. That got back into their own end. That could have been very dangerous.
That's true, especially with the way this BU team has been riding.
Here's Griffin Brown. He's got 5, can't make it 6. Right between the wickets, McSorley makes the stop.
And you never want to pull back a shooter such as Griffin Brown, but there he was almost at the top of the box, and with a limited time left on this clock, you might have wanted to see him just move it one more and see if they can get a better opportunity deeper into this clock, either the shot clock or, at this case, at the end of the quarter.
BU trying to cut the deficit before the break. Behind the back try over the cage. Still 15 seconds left in this third quarter. Left side behind the back try, no good. BU again backs up. Timmy Lee takes it in with 8 seconds left.
So still 8 seconds left. BU will probably try some sort of off-ball cutters and picks in the center of the field to try to get a guy open as they dodge behind with Timmy Lee.
4 seconds left in the period. Right side, shot, score! 2-goal game. Jake Cates has his second.
And that is a momentum build to put back-to-back goals here for this BU team. You can see their bench getting a little bit more mojo, a little bit more excited. And Colgate defense there just lost the cutter as they had the dodge behind the cage, and so much focus was on the ball carrier back behind the cage.
Raiders looked like they had a cushion, but now not so much. Jake Cates puts it home to make it a 2-goal game. We'll be right back on PLN. Real sloppy game so far. 37 combined turnovers between Colgate and BU. And because of some recent mistakes, Raiders find themselves now only up by 2 against BU. Was a 4-goal lead for Colgate. Cut in half in those final minutes of the third quarter. We're ready to start the fourth. Battle for it at midfield. Who's got it? Still fighting. And it's still unresolved. This is one of the sloppiest faceoffs I've ever seen. And finally, BU comes down with it.
And that was a hard fought for ground ball off the faceoff. A lot of players batting that ball and not scooping through. You'd like to see one of them just run through that ball and get it going in their direction, so then they can come up with it later on down the line, even if it does get checked. But for BU, a great end to that third quarter that wasn't so hot to begin with.
And then credit goes to the wings on the faceoff to start the fourth. Terriers have the first offensive possession. To the left side to Alto. He's got one. Dives. Can't get it in.
Missed the ball, or missed the cage wide, but somehow stayed out of the crease and didn't turn the ball over. He must have dived toward the front of the cage at the opening of the crease, or the top of the crease toward the goal mouth.
The freshman was facing a lot of pressure. Got the shot off. Couldn't get it through. That one wide again. And again, BU backs it up.
And they've gone to this dodging from behind the cage, looking to turn and shoot up at the block area, where the hash marks meet the 15-yard line on the football field here. If they can get up there, it's a real good opportunity. And Colgate is not sending a slide quickly to that spot, so they found that they can get it off an open shot. They just haven't been able to hit the cage.
Nook guarded by a shorty. Sends right. Bouncer too wide. Collins has to dive. He gets on top of it.
And a good save, and then a dangerous play, getting that ball kicked back in front of the cage. I'm sure that's a nerve-wracking couple seconds there for the goalie.
Sean Collins coming into this game, 61 saves through 4 meetings, has 11 so far today. Mike Hawkins already has 1 goal. He takes it past the restraining line for the Raiders.
And he had to run all the way across the field to get out of that 10-man ride in the double team, but a nice job showing poise and composure with the ball in his stick in the middle of the field to not give it up and not create a turnover there.
One of the most aggressive rides in the Patriot League. BU forces a lot of turnovers, leading the nation in caused turnovers coming in. Had 66 at the start of this game. That was 10 more than the number 2 team in the country. Here's Griffin Brown, 5 today. Can't get 6. Another stop by McSorley. All of those 5 goals from Griffin Brown came in that first half. Since then, Joe's had Griffin's number.
And they've been sliding quickly to Griffin Brown, and he's had a lot of success getting open, dodging the slide.
And a nice pressure to get it free from Connor Brook. And here comes Colgate the other way. Thor Adamick with the long pole. Winds up. Can't bury it. Wide right. But the Raiders back it up.
And on BU's possession, oftentimes in that slow break, you go down the side so you don't run into trouble as they did there with the players running in from the box. If you throw it across the center, that's where all the players running into the field are. So even though that guy's open, he's going to get closed in on very quickly.
Thor Adamick has ripped a couple of shots in his time. None of them have ever gone through. But he's still a long pole that has a lot of speed to him at 6 foot, 195 pounds. You don't want to be in his way if he's coming down the middle of the field.
No, and you love seeing the long poles come down and let it rip from up top. It just is a very energizing and exciting play if they can put the ball past the goalie.
Petkovic winds up with the left, but then airs with caution.
He's got the short stick here, dropping into the invert defense, so BU will be forced to drop their defense into a tighter zone in front of the cage.
Breaks free but draws the pole, now has to correct course. As the double team. Minikis, the sophomore. He's got 1 today. Loses control. Ball in the air. Fight for it far side. Brown comes down.
That's a big ground ball by Brown. He's really doing everything today out here.
He has been dominant. On top of that 5 goals, plenty of ground balls to his name as well, as Minikis can't control the pass, but recorrals it near side, goal line extended. Out in front, here comes Brown. Stopped again. McSorley's been standing on his head against Griffin Brown in this second half.
And that's always a pretty good look across the field when you pick up that ground ball because the defense has all flowed to one end of the field. But it's an even better look when you have Griffin Brown on the other side of the field.
He has been an offensive firecracker. BU relatively silent. Had a couple goals late in that third quarter. Still in a deficit. Air over 10 left to play here at Crown Field, the Patriot League opener for both of these sides.
And while we had that explosive first half, the second half has been relatively quiet for what we saw out of that first half.
Here's Niedringhaus with 1. He fires. It's a 1-goal game.
And he just kept bowling his way through. We talked about it earlier, how big he is listed as and then how big he looks on the field. But he just kept bowling his way through until he got right on top of the cage. And Colgate, even though they slid to him, they weren't able to really back him away from the cage or put enough pressure to stop him from attacking.
Nice use of finesse from the 6'3" freshman from St. Louis. Niedringhaus now up to 6 goals on the year, 2 on the day.
And another thing, he did a nice job of getting his hands way high up in the air and bringing the head of the stick back where the goalie, it's hard to see it. And then that shot, he changed the level to drive it low at the goalie's feet. So
more than anything, it's important to get the hands free than anything else.
That's a very good point. If you can get those hands free, you can shoot the ball. If you don't, then it's going to be a weaker shot or inaccurate.
Colgate with strong possession off the face-off. Here's Brown. He's got a long pole on him. Mike Hawkins has a goal already today. Was an All-Patriot League second-teamer back in 2018 before a slumping season in his sophomore campaign.
Eddie's really pressing out. Reese Eddy, the dynamic long stick defender, is pressing out and getting his stick in the Colgate attacker's hands there.
Reese Eddy wearing 23 in red. Senior from Skinny Atlas, one of the dominant long poles. Shot from Petkovic, and he sticks it.
Petkovic did a great job of dodging underneath the short stick defender, but bringing his hands in front of the cage so he gained an angle to get it past the keeper there. And somehow he stayed out of the crease as well.
Back-to-back hat tricks for the senior from Maryland. Showing off that IQ and that skill. He can do more than just rip it from the left side. He can get close and tuck it in too.
And he's such an opportunistic dodger. When he sees that short stick on him, he's going to attack right away. If you wait and pull the ball behind and invert, it's like you're tapping your head, and it lets the defense set up. There he dodged without letting the defense set up to get a slide to him.
And if you talk to him, he'll tell you he's not the guy who will just do all the dodging and score every single point. He is a guy who looks at the field, sees what opportunities are available, and makes the best assessment. He dishes off plenty too. He's got 4 assists already this season. Had a pair in that last game against Hobart. Colgate with another possession. Chance to pad the lead even further. Just under 9 minutes left to play here between the Raiders and Terriers. Belanger down the alley. Hands it off for Pekovic, who just scored his 3rd. Space in the middle, poked back out. And Belanger again. Pekovic winds. Nice knee save there by McSorley. Resetti starts the clear for BU, sends it across, flags down. So an EMO will come for BU. Free chance, spin around from D'Alto. Getting that one hand free, circling back out, stick knocked out of his hands, and now the whistle blows.
I think they're going to get Brown possibly on the far end of the field there for a one-handed slash. The stick just rode up into the helmet, and it's going to be a slash every time you connect with that helmet, especially when you're one-handed there as Brown was.
Could be a costly mistake in such a tight game late on. Just over 8 minutes left. Colgate only up by 2. And the best player on the field right now for the Raiders has to take a seat for a full minute. Louis Perfetto, the freshman from Manhasset, New York, to restart. Just over 20 from cage.
And BU is 0-4 on the man-up opportunity, so that's really a place, and they have one here, they need to improve in order to cut this to an even ball game.
A combined 11 EMOs for these two sides, and that's only the second one successful, first for BU.
And a nice skip pass there, cutting the corner diagonally across that Raiders defense. With the man down, you can't cover everybody, so farthest away there was open, and they found him. And what I liked was the poise there to work your feet around the crease and not just shoot it right away so you get a better angle here.
Timmy Lee using that footwork, give him number 2 of the day. Second straight multi-goal performance, has a goal in 15th straight games, up to 8 on the season. He's someone who's already made a big impact for Boston University, tied the program record for most points by a rookie, and second all-time in goals by a freshman for the Terriers.
And Feeney now is really, though, that past couple faceoffs, he's won them pretty cleanly.
That's something he struggled to do in those first 2 quarters, coming out with new life in this second half. It's a 1-goal game now.
1-goal game, plenty of time, obviously, with 8 minutes, so that doesn't factor into this game and kind of how these two teams will play now at all. They'll be playing their normal offensive and defensive paces at this point in the game.
Minikis through X has the double team. Trying to get space. And tiptoes into the crease. So back to BU.
And the lines, the blue lines on the green turf, I think it's pretty standard that that's what the color is, but they're often hard to see with that blue-green combo, especially when you're playing out there and you get a little bit of a gray sky. So maybe just a misstep there to step into the crease. 20
turnovers on the game for Colgate. It's hampered them quite a bit, and now BU has the chance to tie this up. Jared Nugent, scoreless today, but has 6 on the season. Into the right alley. We're tied!
And that was a Different player for BU, but a very similar goal to their first goal of the game, where they dodged hard with a right-handed midfielder right out of the substitution pattern, and Colgate did not send a slide, and they're not afraid just to let that ball rip right in on cage. I think that might have hit the pipe closest to us and then bounced in. It was a heck of a hard shot.
Might have actually done a double doink off the top, then bottom, finally trickled on into the back of the net. Jared Nugent, the senior from Long Island, transfer from Villanova, makes his mark in his second season with the Terriers.
And interesting to see a couple transfers as it's become much more prevalent in the college lacrosse game. Is Chris Gray, obviously for Boston University, had transferred to UNC, and then Boston University picking up on a few transfers themselves to help improve their program.
And BU has a chance to take the lead in a moment. You're seeing a lot more transfers in the game now than in years past, particularly with more enlightened awareness towards player rights being expanded. Lacrosse, one of the few high-tier men's sports that has the one-time transfer exception rule. So Chris Gray went over to UNC, and Brian Minikis gives Colgate the lead back.
And just Minikis, a timely cut to the center of the cage, and then I don't know if the ball was in his stick for any time at all. It just almost volleyballed or tennised back a light shot over the goalie's left shoulder there. But nonetheless, it counts as a goal. It looks like it was in there for a little bit longer. He did a good job of controlling it as we watch the replay here. But a good answer for Colgate.
Shocking it was able to get it right above the goalie's head. You would think if it went in, it would go over the shoulders, down below. No, it went right above him.
Yes, right above his head. And then Minikis having the timeliness and the mind to relax in there and not try to rush that shot was something that is hard to teach, and it's almost a natural feel of playing the interior in lacrosse.
Minikis, a former U.S. All-American in high school out of Darien, Connecticut, gives the Raiders the lead back, but maybe not for long. BU gets it off the face-off and charging ahead. Here comes Michael Doxey. Circles it back out, and a timeout called by BU.
And BU there just putting two poles on the face-off to try to create more disruption and not allow Feeney to win it easily.
Gets more pressure on the wings, results in possession. BU with the chance to tie when we come back. 12-11 Colgate here on PLN. Just a few minutes left here in Hamilton. Colgate with a one-goal lead, but BU the opportunity to tie.
I think they're adjusting the shot clock here for when it started. Maybe it ran a little bit after that timeout was called. Give BU a little bit more time. Interesting to see what they will call out of this timeout. See if they'll go back to what's been their bread and butter with the invert and the two-man game behind the cage with one offensive player covered by a short stick and one offensive player covered by a long pole, or the hard top dodge for one of their right-handed middies.
We've seen them go to both today. BU peppering Sean Collins in cage, but right now it's Colgate with the one-goal edge. Nugent back to X. It's with Louis Perfetto, the freshman. Here's Jack Cates. He's got two. Sidewinder, too wide. Perfetto recovers with 48. Into the alley. To the other side now. D'Alto has space. Popped away. Out in front, Colgate recovers. Nice swim move by Donahue to get some space. And here comes Decker in transition. The Raiders have numbers. He winds up. Senda Pekovic too strong. And BU gets it off the turnover. More sloppy play from Colgate, biting them in these tight moments.
Yes, and a nice opportunity there for the transition. But you would have liked to see him retain possession and really have that be the focus so they could get a good offensive possession and maintain this lead and give their defense a little bit of rest.
But the Raiders have no rest for their defense right now. BU with a chance to tie. Niedringhaus has two today. Towards the middle. Shot! We're tied!
And as we've seen throughout the day, him driving hard to the center for that right hand and letting that rocket shot go from up high has really been successful for him. He's had several goals driving hard for that right hand. Colgate needs to send a quicker double up to his right hand and really take that space and area of the field away.
Had 4 goals coming in. That one there, number 3 of the day for Niedringhaus, the freshman from St. Louis, now up to 7 on the season. He's a U.S. lacrosse All-American out of high school. Missouri not necessarily a lacrosse hotbed, but certainly made his mark.
Yes, and it's growing there in the St. Louis area. It's growing and has really grown into where you're seeing more and more players at the Division I level come out of St. Louis and other parts of Missouri.
And the Midwest, too, as a whole, you're seeing a lot more growth in Chicago area, throughout the rest of Illinois as well, even down in Naperville.
Yes, there are more and more better players coming from all over this country, which is awesome to see as someone who's a fan of lacrosse.
Not just a Northeast and DMV-centric sport anymore. Here's Griffin Brown. He's got 5. We're all tied at 12, 4 minutes left. Feed right out in front. Belanger gets tied up. BU takes it away. Terriers clear with Will Carson. And the attack gets rolling.
And this, like so many other Patriot League games, this league's so close and so tightly battled coming down to the last minutes of this game at an even game. You'll see close games throughout the year in the Patriot League just like this one.
Weiss towards the left alley. Gets his defender on his knees. Circles it around to D'Alto, who slows things down. Still 40 on the shot clock. But only 3:10 left on the game clock. Tied at 12 in the Patriot League opener for BU and Colgate.
And it looked like they had some opportunity but decided to pull it out and opt for their more settled offense here.
Perfetto loses it, pride-free, and a penalty called on Perfetto.
So Perfetto there was clamping the stick in between his arm and his body of the Colgate defender and not letting it loose, which is a hold.
And so now the Raiders have possession. Too long for Minikis. Can Hawkins recover? No, he can't. Had the chance with the wide open cage. Instead, the Terriers retake possession.
So you see that 10-man ride of the Terriers continuing to cause havoc for this Colgate really full team, clearing defensively down to the offensive end.
And here's the midfielder, freshman Robert Gallup, a native of Westchester County. Sends it back to Perfetto. 2:15 in the game. 12-12, Colgate and Boston.
And both these teams with 2 minutes left, both these teams will have multiple opportunities to try to score here. Even if BU gets one, it's by far not even close to over.
Opening for D'Alto. Dodge, he scores! BU takes the lead.
And a really nice face dodge there to pull his stick and juke the Colgate approaching defender to gain some space closer to the field, and then just putting it past the goalie by putting it into the low corner.
Had 2 defenders standing in his way. He fears no man. Down to the turf. D'Alto has his second. The team leading 14 on the year for the freshman from Northport, New York.
And while we saw him start a little slow, a little bit off with his shot, it was a little wild. There were some opportunities that maybe you would like to see him move the ball along one more. He's really come up big in this fourth quarter and the majority of the second half. He's a player to watch here in the Patriot League this year.
BU has the lead for the first time since the first quarter, and you mentioned it with Vince D'Alto. He's the most goals of any freshman in the country at the moment. Definitely someone to watch for come league play, and maybe even on those national rankings. Look for those Rookie of the Year teams to come out at the end of the season. You'll probably find his name.
Yes, I would assume you would find his name after the performance he's put on thus far if it continues throughout this Patriot League season, which is a long season. There are a lot of teams in the league, so it is a long season here.
And for BU right now, Terriers control the ball, 1-goal lead. About 30 seconds between the shot and game clock, so Terriers trying to milk as much as they can before firing off a shot. Colgate, no matter what happens, will only have about 30. Just a hair under, perhaps. Here's Cates on the near side. Gets some cushion.
And the strategy here for BU is to try to take it to the cage and obviously score, but if not, reset that shot clock with either a penalty or a ball that hits off the goalie.
The shot wide left, not on cage. That goes to 2 seconds on the shot clock, but Colgate there first. 30 seconds for the Raiders to send this to overtime.
And so I was interested to see if they would 10-man ride here. They're not 10-man riding. I was interested to see if they would, since they've stuck with it all game, down, up, whatever they may have been.
Playing conservative with a 1-goal lead, and Colgate will use the timeout. Last one for the Raiders. And they are down to the wire. 13 Boston, 12 Colgate, 14 seconds left here on PLN. 2 seconds back on the clock for Colgate. Down by 1 against BU in the Patriot League opener. Griffin Brown to reinsert. He already has 5 today. Screen from Minikis. Changes direction. He loses the ball. 7 seconds left. Belanger scoops it up. He only has 3 seconds. To the left alley. Prayer. No. BU wins.
And a tough end of game possession for Colgate. Looked like they were going to get a great opportunity, but just weren't able to complete the passes necessary to get the ball to the backside where they had an open man for a good look.
The Terriers trailed for most of this game. Got the lead with only 3 minutes left. And then come back to take down the Colgate Raiders by a score of 13-12. For Colgate now, they got to look ahead to a road game next week. They take on Navy down in Annapolis.
And it's a big game against Navy, a very good opponent, and a great opportunity for this Raiders team to get a Patriot League win.
And now the record 0-5, the first win of the season for the Raiders. We'll have to wait another week. 13-12, BU takes down Colgate. That's your final from here in Hamilton. For Andrew Watkins, I'm Brandon Ross saying so long from Crown Field.